For part 5 of my video series of my romance novel collection, we have 91 novels written by Joan Smith. And I just recently got these in, so I've not actually read any of these. But this collection comprises all of Joan Smith's historical and Regency novels from 1977 to 1998, except for 4 Regency historical novels, 4 suspense novels that she wrote for Jove Books in the late 1980s, and 25 contemporary romances that she wrote for Silhouette Romance from 1984 to 1993. And she also wrote a contemporary romance for Dawn Star Romance around 1985. But aside from that, this 91 books are all that Joan Smith wrote during the 20th century, unless she wrote it under some other names that I'm not aware of. But I'm going to very quickly just go through all of these. And here are all of Joan Smith's books that were published from 1977 to 1979, except for there was one book called Flames of Eden, or Fires of Eden, something like that, in 1979. But these were all published by Fawcett Books. This one here from 1977, An Affair of the Heart, was Joan Smith's very first book. And I'll show you some other books here. And here were Joan Smith books that were published in 1980 and 1981. Some of these are under her Jennie Gallant pen name, and these were all Coventry romances. As you can see here, this is book number 19, 22, and 37, and so on. She used Jennie Gallant because she was so prolific during this period. And these books here were all published by Fawcett between 1981 and 1982. These are all, again, Coventry romances, with the exception of The Black Diamond, also published by Fawcett, but under their Jennie Gallant pen name. Valerie and The Black Diamond actually came out the same month. Curiously, she also had a book this year called The Blue Diamond. These books were published by Fawcett in 1982 and 1983. Coventry Romances, the Fawcett's series of Regencies, ended in 1982. And you'll notice near the end here that they no longer have a number on them like they used to. I forget what number they ended in, but it was probably around the 200s. And then Fawcett's Regency books started to look like this. These both came out in 1983. And I believe she did 2 other ones that I'm missing during this period from 1983. Now, these ones were published in 1985 and 1986. It was around this time that she started writing contemporaries for Silhouette, and ultimately wrote 25 novels for Silhouette Romance. And these books here were all published in 1988, which is pretty amazing when you think of how prolific she was. This is 1987 to 88. July 87, let's see what this one here is. April 87, and then this one down here is November 88. Now, she also started writing a series for leisure books, and this one also came out in 1988. These were thicker than the regular Regencies that she was doing. And here's another one from 1989. Actually, copyright 1988, but I believe it came out in 89. Emerald Hazard by Joan Smith. Again, another thick one from Leisure Books. And she had another one in 1989. Whoops. Let's see. I believe it's Leisure Books, yeah. Silver Water Golden Sand. So she wasn't just writing only for Fawcett and Silhouette at this time. She was also writing for Leisure Books. And she wrote at least 4 suspense novels for Jove Books during this time in the late 1980s. And these books were all published in 1989 and 1990. Again, all Regencies from Fawcett, except with this book, which was a Centurion was the name of the publisher, although it says it was published in arrangement with Dorchester Publishing, which Leisure Books was it was the parent company of Leisure Books. And again, it's somewhat thicker than the regular Regencies. Now, all the rest of the videos shown here are going to be from the 1990s. The ones here are from 1991 and 1992. And you'll notice through the 80s and 90s, Fawcett had a certain cover format where it would say a Regency Romance at the top and have sort of a frame around the image. They would as soon start changing that up. So as you'll see, the cover formats start to change. And here we are into mid-1992 into early 1994. And you can see there one of the books, she used her Jennie Gallant pen name, which she had not used since the end of the Coventry Romance series in 1982. This book, Autumn Loves, is an anthology of various writers, including Joan Smith. Now, also during this time, there was a Christmas anthology from 1994, where she had 2 stories in it, one under the Joan Smith name and another under Jennie Gallant. And as far as I know, that was the last time she used her Jennie Gallant pen name. And here we are in 1994 and 1995. As you can see, the covers have changed the format than how they used to look. She also was writing a lot of mystery-themed Regencies at this time, which would become more pronounced. I love the cover of this one. It's very old-fashioned, old-fashioned style cover. And here we are into 1995 and 1996. And again, these are all published by Fawcett, but they, are almost unrecognizable according to cover, because they look so different than those previous ones that we were looking at. And finally, I'm going to show these ones here. Let's see what year this was. 1997. She started a new series called The Berkeley Brigade, introducing the Berkeley Brigade. And then the continued adventures of the Berkeley Brigade. And more continued adventures of the Berkeley Brigade. And still more continued adventures of the Berkeley Brigade. This one is from, let's see here, 1998. So the 97 and 98, she was doing the Berkeley Brigade series. And then these 2 books here are the final ones for 1998. Her final 2 Regencies for Fawcett Books. And then she really didn't write much for the next 10 years. And in the 21st century, she's released some of her books as ebooks, and you can find those online. But as far as I know, that's pretty much it for her. As she did continue, she wrote several more books of the Berkeley Brigade, and you can find those, I believe, as ebooks, perhaps as POD, print on demand. I'm not sure, I have not seen them. But there you go. That's the 20th century output of Joan Smith, minus, a few books, plus the 25 silhouettes she wrote. In a future video, I'll show more of the Regency romances that Fawcett published by other authors, and as well as more of the Coventry romances, so stay tuned.